Hello out there, you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another Pitch for Switch discussion. And this time I'm going to be a little bit more broad in the scope on the thing that I'm talking about, because this is more or less the Sega Saturn catalog rather than a specific game. And yeah, I know it's going to be a little difficult to try to get all of the games from the Sega Saturn catalog, but what could be done is getting games that Sega specifically still has the rights to, and maybe companies that partnered up with them like Capcom and SNK, and getting the games that went to that platform that either did not get localized to the West or just never came out on any other platform, period, and incorporating them into Nintendo Switch Online as part of the platforms that Nintendo has at their disposal. Now, I know it's not going to be an easy thing. It was never an easy thing in the first place because, quite frankly, the Sega Saturn has been and will be a difficult console to emulate. Not impossible, but difficult just because of how the system was structured and all of the many mishaps that happened with it back in the day. It's still a great platform that has many great games on it. That said, if Nintendo could barter some sort of partnership with Sega to get the gambit of Sega Saturn games that didn't really see releases in the West, or that if they did, they were super rare and hard to find. For example, Burning Rangers, Three Dirty Dwarves, stuff like that. If they could get those games on the Nintendo Switch Online service, they'd have a clear moneymaker. I'm sorry, there would be a crap ton of people paying into Nintendo Switch Online just to be able to play those games, because they are hard to come by, they're expensive as all heck, and on top of that, the system that they were developed for was underrated. So I could see a lot of people saying, well, hey, the option's there, I'm going to go for it. So, I mean, again, I'm just making an observation that this is something, like, you know, as gamers, if there is a chance to play something historic that was overlooked but is great, gamers are going to take that. They're going to take it and run with it. So I think that it would be a good idea to just go ahead and say, hey, Sega, let's partner up. Let us get your Sega Saturn library and bring it over to the Switch. Let's work on developing an emulator that will run these games well on this platform. And it's not like at this point it couldn't be done, because it could. I'm not saying it's easy. Again, there's the one that really runs a lot of games well, SSF, runs the games from their disc in your PC. There are ways around this, mind you, but again, if we're just talking based off of what we know in the immediate, that's what works. There has to be some way to get software similar to that running on mobile CPU and GPU hardware. I do not doubt it's possible. Honestly, I think that the thing is right now is just that nobody's putting the work into it. Hey, Nintendo, you could pioneer a team that gets this done. You could go to the emulation community and get them to work on this officially, as long as you can talk with Sega about it. I think it would be a great idea to do. Again, there are a lot of lost gems on the Sega Saturn that nobody gets to play, no one gets to talk about, because the system didn't sell well. It was horribly promoted, and on top of that, there were so many missteps with it that it just never got the appreciation that it actually deserved. So again, up to you guys to do it. I just think it would be a great idea, and it would be an instant moneymaker, especially if you go ahead and put it in, if you include it as part of Nintendo Switch Online. I mean, yeah, put the games out there and make them available on the eShop for people to purchase, like you do with the NES and the SNES games. But putting it on Nintendo Switch Online, you've got an instant customer base for that. And then a lot of people will pay into it just for that, even if they don't use their Switches online. Again, I'm just saying, it's a good idea to have the option available. And it's not like these games are hugely massive in scope. I mean, at least as far as not in scope. But it's not like these games are hugely massive on the data side of things. They're, I think the biggest Sega Saturn game's probably close to a gigabyte of data. But then you could think about taking like games that were arcade perfect ports that never got localized over here, like X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, and bring those over. Or the Real About Fatal Fury games. Actually, I think you don't need to do that because you guys might have already had that on there because of SNK anyhow. But there are plenty of other options. There's Shinobi X is a game that I know not a lot of people have played. Then there's I think the Ghouls and Ghosts collection that was never localized over to the West, along with several different Capcom collections that came out for the Sega Saturn that just never saw the light of day over here. Then you got Bug and Bug 2, which did come over here, but they just, again, Saturn wasn't popular. You got Panzer Dragoon. All of those games could be brought over. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff on that this platform had that just never made it to the West, or since it sold poorly, just didn't do well in the West. Here's your opportunity to play to people's nostalgia, and on top of that, bring in a lot of goodwill. Hell, this alone might be a reason that more Switch consoles sell. Just because there's going to be somebody who wants to be able to play these games on their Switch and have them available. Don't doubt the power of nostalgia. Don't doubt the power of people missing out on something, because they'll pay money for it. But what do I know? See, I'm not in the games industry. I'm just a guy with a bunch of ideas that mainstream gaming media has not listened to. So, that's it. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out.